This afternoon, Christian Scarpello has a score to settle for England as the Lions look to rebound from a sour setback. On the other hand, the all-world brilliance of Lyle Thompson ready to be unleashed for the Haudenosaunee. Another perfect day. You're watching the 2023 World Lacrosse Men's Championship presented by Rady Children's Hospital. This afternoon, Torero Stadium in San Diego, California comes back alive for Pool A contests on ESPN. It's Haudenosaunee and England. It is great to see you again. Along with Nick Ocello, I'm Joe Beninati. No easy assignment for England today. Why is it so difficult to defend against the Haudenosaunee style?
Every team has certain tendencies. What are you consistently putting on film? What should we prepare for? And to counter that, how creative do they get within those systems? The Haudenosaunee are pure creativity and electricity in a bottle, so they're going to be doing things that you've never seen done on a lacrosse field before. And even when you think you're on your man, you think that you're doing something correctly, they'll throw it behind the back, they'll throw it between the legs, where you just ask, what more can I do? Certainly one of the toughest matchups here.
We're still just getting our feet wet in this event. It's day 3 of round-robin pool play in the chase for a world championship.
Just a fantastic event. Teams traveling from all over the world, putting not only their culture, but their lacrosse skills on display. Some great games so far. I'm very excited to see what happens the rest of the tournament.
Finally, the wait is over for the Haudenosaunee. Their opening game's coming up. England stands in their way, and it's straight ahead next for you on ESPN. Just day after day of beautiful weather here in San Diego. I'm sure surf's up somewhere. Haudenosaunee and England set to go in Pool A play on ESPN. Joe Beninati, Nick Ocello with you this afternoon. Anxious to see Haudenosaunee get involved in this 2023 World Lacrosse Men's Championship. England already with a game under its belt, falling an evening ago to Australia. Christian Scarpello, one of the captains, one of the leaders for England, matching up with the incredible Lyle Thompson and this Haudenosaunee squad, Nick, that has so much speed and skill and savvy on display.
They really do. One of the most electric teams in this entire tournament. It's just really fun. They're going to establish their identity. They're going to play creative. And we get to sit back and enjoy every single second of the men in purple.
Officials today, Bill Doherty, Dan Douglas-Zima, Alex Fry, and Rob Groats. As the netminder for England, Will Baxter, gets set. Will was outstanding early in the game against Australia last night. Faded as the game went along. Australia rallies for that victory.
He's a goalie that when he's hot, he can snatch the game and almost snatch a victory out of the jaws of defeat, as we saw in the first half against Australia. But it's up to England's defense to give up the shots that Baxter's comfortable with. I feel like when he was playing well, he was comfortable with the looks, no traffic in front of him, and he was really able to settle in. So look for England's defense to help out Baxter.
Haudenosaunee officially changing its name to the Haudenosaunee Nationals in 2022, formerly the Iroquois Nationals. For these two sides, it is the 8th all-time meeting. England has dropped the last 5 as the men in purple and gold prepare to make their quest in 2023 here at Torero Stadium. Head coach for Haudenosaunee, Lars Tippany, explaining earlier that his team is eager to get going. They've been practicing all week, and finally they are underway against England, winning the opening draw. Jeremy Thompson, in Lars Tippany's words, he's timeless.
He really is. He didn't even win the clamp right there. The ball shot up, and his lacrosse IQ allowed him to just go pluck it out of the air for what looked like an easy win, but certainly wasn't easy to the average lacrosse player.
Throughout the day, Nick, I'm looking forward to your expertise with regard to the face-off X and breaking things down. Face-offs so critical as always, but especially so in a world championship without a shot clock. Haudenosaunee in possession. This is Brendan Bombery, one of the captains. Swing it for Zach Miller, send it on the flank. Jacob Patterson, who lives in the San Diego area. The snapshot goes high. Chased down on the end line by Lyle Thompson in lacrosse on a shot closest to the ball, where and when it leaves the field, gets possession. Thompson, 2 times a Tewaaraton Award winner. NCAA lacrosse's best performer in the nation. On the move, this is Jackson, former Michigan Wolverine. Drive, score! Randy Stotts, waste no time.
Kyle Jackson is one of the quickest and shiftiest players, so when he's isolating on a short stick, that is a nightmare matchup, and all of England's defensemen saw that they were going to have to slide. They pay attention to the ball carrier, and guess what? Kyle Jackson has a number of weapons that he can feed it to. What also impresses me about Kyle Jackson, as he's being quick and shifty, his eyes are up. He is looking for those feeds. Randy Stotts, the first to receive one, but England's going to want to make the decision to either slide and recover, but they cannot leave a short stick on Kyle Jackson on an island.
Haudenosaunee get possession off the ensuing draw, a 1-0 advantage. In each of the last 2 World Championships, the Haudenosaunee have taken the bronze medal. Back in 2018, 5 years ago in Israel, it was Randy Stotts who was the #1 goal scorer for the Iroquois. 83 in the purple is Austin Stotts, Randy's brother. Cousin Jerry will be playing a close defense position for Haudenosaunee. Eli McLaughlin has the ball. McLaughlin subbing in for the injured Dahoga Nanticoke. Nanticoke, who is injured in NLL indoor playoff action, is here in San Diego but not able to play. On the go, Patterson. Feed it inside. Spinning, turning drive, and Baxter made the save on Austin Stotts.
That's what's so dangerous. We always talk about Lyle Thompson because he is the spearhead. He is the pillar of almost the entire lacrosse community. But Austin Stotts is one of the best players in the NLL for the San Diego Seals, and that is why, even when you are draped all over him, even when you think you're doing a good job, he maintains possession and gets a great behind-the-back look.
Austin Stotts, 37 goals, 75 points for those Seals in NLL action this season. Cam Major brings it ahead. England in the white, its first touch offensively. Scarpello keeps it hot for Hilditch, a lethal shooter from the wing who didn't have many chances to uncork his shot an evening ago in that loss to Australia.
Interesting to see them not push right there. There were a couple open shooters, but it's looking like they're putting a premium on those possessions.
You talked about time of possession, and Perhaps today you're going to see England be more than willing to shrink the game with deliberate, slow-paced offensive sets.
In the game against Australia, sometimes they were their own worst enemy, forcing those passes and shots, causing turnovers. Looks like they made some adjustments here today.
Coach Pat Scarpello was bemoaning the impatience at times of his group. Dressed in white today, Scarpello back behind the cage, picked up by Zed Williams. It is very unusual to see Zed with a long pole.
Almost feels weird, but as one of the premium athletes, not only in the Haudenosaunee, but in this entire tournament, him with a long pole, him with a short stick, doesn't matter.
Off the sweep, Goldsmith fires, he scores! Sean Goldsmith.
A great pick play by England right here in a dangerous area of the field. If that pick is even half effective, which it was, you have one of the best shooters in the entire tournament, Goldsmith, with his hands, with his feet set, and able to stare down and get confidence stepping into his shot. If you're England, that's exactly what you're looking to do. A nice long possession that ends with a set pick play for your best shooter. Really good to build off of that.
Beneath that face mask for Sean Goldsmith, those trademark glasses. He wears eyeglasses underneath. No contacts for Sean.
Went a little viral when he was at Mercer. He had the specs on, the glasses, and turns out he's quite the player.
One thing Coach Scarpello said of Goldsmith, he was very impressed by the way Sean integrated himself from Mercer into North Carolina. Of course, Lars Tiffany, the head coach for Haudenosaunee, would know Goldsmith from North Carolina and Virginia rivalries this past season. England won, Haudenosaunee won. Randy Stott's on the board for Haudenosaunee. Scarpello with Hilditch, who led Team England in scoring at the Under-21 tournament last summer. Hugo Peel is a 17-year-old midfielder, driving in against Blake McDonald, 97 in the purple for Haudenosaunee. Ball down, fighting along the wing. Piscino goosed it free, but this will stay England possession. Just a reminder, no shot clock. Running time for the first 14 minutes of each of the first 3 frames. Stop time in the last 30 seconds of quarters 1, 2, and 3. Stop time in the last 2 minutes of the 4th.
And this is a chance for the Haudenosaunee to establish their team defensive identity. It looks like they're comfortable playing this longer game. They're not overexerting themselves. They're not looking to get out and disrupt the flow of England, which could play into England's benefit, as we just talked about, valuing the time of possession.
Nick, you've done your homework. Lars Tiffany said we do have a plan defensively. Back behind the cage, Goldsmith's feed to the interior. Point blank there and a fine save. The netminder Warren Hill with a rejection.
That's a huge save by Warren Hill right there. Even though the Haudenosaunee defenseman was in that passing lane, he knocked it down, but the England offense, look what I found, got a great shot off.
Goldsmith on the skip, over the top, bouncer, score! A bullet from DiCaprio.
Really like the shot placement from England.
England with its supporters in the stands. Proud of the work of DiCaprio. 2-1 early for Team England.
Kids grow up, and it goes by fast. At Rady Children's, we're growing up too. Always looking for answers and new and better ways to care for your kids.
That's true.
Researching, innovating, breaking ground. As they soar to new heights,
Ignition.
we're ready for takeoff too.
Liftoff.
We honor our indigenous roots and international history. Lacrosse is more than a game. We play with speed, heart, and precision. Young, modern, electric, inclusive, growing across the globe. Lacrosse is everyone's sport, governed globally by World Lacrosse.
Experience real in a whole new way. From the all-new Rescue Junior, where learning
learning about saving animals is fun. To the icy mission of the all-new Arctic Rescue, the longest and fastest straddle coaster on the West Coast. And spectacular new shows, concerts, parades, and fireworks. All in a world you need to rediscover. Get tickets as low as $64.99 during our 4th of July sale. SeaWorld San Diego. Real amazing.
Back-to-back goals for Team England against Lars Tiffany's squad. Haudenosaunee trailing by 1. As we look at the standings in Pool A to this point, very early on in the event.
It is very early on. A lot of lacrosse left to be played, but interesting to see Australia there at the top. Only their win against England. Their only win so far, but still cool. Even in those early sessions to see Australia on top. Always an interesting little standing there.
The head coach for Team England, Pat Scarpello, was very pleased by his gang early in the game last night. They jumped out to a 3-0 advantage. They were moving the ball well. They have continued that script in the first 8 minutes today.
If they're going to come away with the win here today, they wrote that script in the first quarter.
Alone, Lyle Thompson to the cage, backdoor quick stick, score! A layup slam dunk for Randy Stotts.
And that's the difference between these two teams. England is going to be very methodical in their approach offensively, and the Haudenosaunee are going to make it look easy. This is a good English defense, and yet out of transition and out of the face-offs and out of those scrums, they just have their vision, they have the stick skills to execute, tic-tac-toe, very easy-looking goal.
You watch them during the week on the practice fields, and it's effortless. The ball is so fluid. One touch never lands in the cross for very long. Off this draw, Tom Bracegirdle expected to team up with the Daniel Madeley at the face-off X for England today. It'll be one gun for Haudenosaunee. That's Jeremy Thompson, now in his mid-30s. Haudenosaunee in the purple.
England's won most of the clamps, and it's a matter of can they convert those one clamps into possessions. That is always so difficult against Jeremy Thompson, who has some of the best counters in the league.
Pacino brings it ahead, teaming up with Lyle Thompson. In this 2-2 game, Goldsmith and DiCaprio for England. Randy Stotts has them both for Haudenosaunee. And it is Randy Stotts back behind the cage. On the wing for Lyle, getting the assignment defensively. This time around, it's Kirkland. Interior score! Lyle Thompson floating right down the middle.
What you can't do if you're an English defenseman is assume that the two-man game is going to take care of itself. These players for Haudenosaunee know how to play off of each other so well. So even when you're out of position for a second against Lyle Thompson, for him to have a highway down the most dangerous area of the field is miscommunication for England on the backside. You have to be ready to help support that two-man game because they will create opportunities time and time again.
Such a crafty release there from Lyle Thompson, fooling Will Baxter. Goalies just have nightmares trying to read the ball out of his cross.
A one-on-none against Lyle Thompson keeps goalies awake at night.
And off the wing, coming up with the scoop, there's a flag settling after Kaysen Tarbell was rattled.
Good job by Scarpello to apply pressure and play with a little bit of fire and energy, but you don't want that fire to burn you. And one of the things that England's going to have to do is avoid staying out of the box. They did not do that against Australia, so they need to get a feel for what the refs are going to call and what they're going to let slide.
First extra man opportunity in the first 10 minutes of this game, and it's Christian's dad, who's the head coach for England, Pat, saying, you know, I need my boy to stay calm in this event. Working it quickly on the perimeter, the sharp angle snapshot to the back of the goal, Austin Stotts.
When you're man up, your best asset is quick ball movement, and very few teams do it better than the Haudenosaunee. You just see the quick ball movement, getting it to one of the best finishers, Austin Stotts. who again makes it look effortless. No chance for the English defense to rotate with their bodies because the lacrosse ball moves much quicker than any human can.
Austin Stotts, 2 times a junior college All-America during his playing days at Onondaga Community College. Austin, one of the toughest, if not the toughest on this team in the estimation of Lars Tiffany. It's 4-2 now for the Haudenosaunee. They've put 3 goals back to back to back.
Although Jeremy Thompson has jumped twice now, and that's something that when you're getting ready to execute a counter, let them win the clamp and then fight to live to fight another day. Can't jump early.
Keep our eyes on that at the Face-Off X throughout the afternoon. Joe Beninati, Nick Ocello with you. 12 minutes into this Pool A round-robin play between Haudenosaunee and England. Australia and the United States in the nightcap here from Torero Stadium. On the throwback, this is Sam Dexter. Came to the national program about 2 months ago. Hasn't been around a lot, but the coaches are thrilled to have him. Goldsmith stepping away from the defensive efforts of Oakley Thomas. Christian Scarpello off the split dodge, left to right. Zed Williams right there with him. Normally an outstanding and star attacker.
What a great example of the difference in style for these two teams. The Haudenosaunee Lightning and England Methodical.
Goldsmith looking for a passing lane. Christian Scarpello on the outside for Hilditch. Scarpello to try it again off the split. Working against the short stick defensive midfielder from Cornell University, that's Kaysen Tarbell. I knew I recognized that name from somewhere. A Tuaraton Award Foundation scholarship winner in the past. Ball bounces down, it's eaten up there by Warren Hill, and back comes Haudenosaunee looking to run. Pacino, play it on to Ron John. Keep it hot, Austin Stotts fires, he scores! No mistake on the fast break.
We've seen this a couple times now. When there is an unsettled situation, whether it's a turnover, whether it's an unsettled ground ball, as we see great short stick defensive midfielder play, and as soon as there's possession, they are pressing. They understand that in these unsettled situations, it is their IQ and creativity that is going to lead them to looks like this. Austin Stotts with time and room. If Lyle Thompson's a nightmare, then Austin Stotts is the recurring nightmare. Great job pushing the pace by the Haudenosaunee.
Austin, who turned professional after his junior college career. Madeley gets the draw for England, 8 in the white. Played sparingly an evening ago in that loss to Australia. Sloppy clearing time here. Ball down. Heine Thompson in hot pursuit. Same for Oakley Thomas for Haudenosaunee, and it comes up for England. Christian Scarpello with a timeout called by Team England.
Good timeout right there. With 30 seconds left, we've seen that England leans into these long possessions. Well, now they only have 30 seconds to draw something up and execute. Don't be surprised. The off-ball play from this English offense has been impressive. There have been a couple open looks on the crease, and they just need to be selective about when they feed. So don't be surprised to see a backside pick. Don't be surprised to see a pick to get Goldsmith open.
Had Scarpello there, hands on head in the middle of that huddle. He said, Nick, that he wants his team to be able to master the things that they can control. Ground balls, their intensity level, the transition game. No bad penalties is one that he underlined. He hated the fact that his team took a couple of costly penalties late in the game last night. Not so much costly on the scoreboard, but costly in that they couldn't get the ball to their offense.
And it just becomes that kind of snowball effect. One bad penalty leads to frustration, leads to another one. So it's no surprise that he's putting a big emphasis on that, because he doesn't want that avalanche effect against a team that can score punches and bunches, goal after goal. Let's take a slower approach. Let's not have to climb too far uphill.
This is the 14th edition of the World Championships. The 2023 World Lacrosse Men's Championships presented by Rady Children's Hospital. Sunsplash San Diego, the host city. Torero Stadium, the venue. Lars Tiffany and the Haudenosaunee Nationals on top 5-2. They have the last 4 goals on the scoreboard. The Stotts brothers, Randy and Austin, 2 apiece. Lyle Thompson has chipped in. Goldsmith and DiCaprio have struck for England. Another hot day. Temperatures high 70s, low 80s. It'll cool off by the time the United States takes the field with Australia here at Torero to continue Pool A performance.
There's a nice cool ocean breeze, a little hot, but there's that classic California cool wind.
In his 4th World Championships, 24 in the white, is Andrew Baxter, watching his team work now at the offensive end. Final 20 seconds of the quarter. Hilditch lurking there. Cycle it on around. Goldsmith fires from the angle. He scores with a BB.
What a shot. If you are cheering for Team England, you want Sean Goldsmith to get hot. And he does that by taking advantage of the Haudenosaunee playing a little bit conservative, saying, let's not fall for any picks. Let's pack it in a little bit more tight. So what does Goldsmith do? He counters and says, I have the range to beat that. And not only is it a well-placed shot, it is around the defenseman. Really, really well done.
Eric Coburn to take the draw. Long stick to take the draw against Jeremy Thompson now. Goldsmith's 2nd of the game. A lightning bolt. Thompson wins the draw easily and gets it away quickly from Coburn. No chance for the long stick to get that one on the ground. Jackson going to the cage. Bouncer on the way, fought off by Baxter. Will Baxter making the stop as the opening quarter comes to its end. High scoring affair so far today. No surprise with Haudenosaunee making its first appearance on the world stage this afternoon. Haudenosaunee, the 5-3 advantage after 15 minutes worth of play. Haudenosaunee offense, a goalie's nightmare. Goldsmith responding for England. Back and forth we go. We'll carry along in quarter number 2 right after these words. The 2023 World Lacrosse Men's Championship, sponsored by Rady Children's Hospital, the largest children's hospital on the West Coast, and ranked among the 10 best children's hospitals in the nation. There we go, Nick. Got your board ready.
I'm not much of a surfer. Water and I do not get along.
No.
So I'll stick to the mountains.
Very well. And I will drag out the expertise from you in the sport of lacrosse as Haudenosaunee meets England today. Tom Bracegirdle digging in on this draw against Jeremy Thompson. 5-3 after 15 minutes of action-packed play in the opening quarter today in San Diego. They scrum for a loose ball. And out of the pack, it comes up for Jeremy Thompson at the age of 36 now.
He always finds a way to be in the right place at the right time. Not only does he have a very effective counter if England wins the clamp, but on those loose ball scrums, he almost always outmatches his opponent.
Zach Miller in control. Miller wheeling in against Bracegirdle. Haudenosaunee in the purple, England in the white. Haudenosaunee, this is its opening game in the tournament, in this event. England 0-1 after falling to Australia. Australia and England 17 times all time in World Championship play. Australia's won them all. Miller on the go. No shot clock. Chance for Bombury to weave across the top and find Kyle Jackson. Austin Stotts already with 2 first quarter goals. Gets underneath, the bouncer on its way at the doorstep. Stotts celebrates, the flag is down, still no ruling. Now it's a good goal for Austin Stotts, who has a first half hat trick.
That is the San Diego Seals box lacrosse legend. Though he is young in his career, he has already established himself as one of the best players working with little angle. He is so comfortable working against defensemen, and almost every other player is saying, don't take it, don't take it. What does he do? He just has the easiest berry. Puts his hands up and says, I don't know. I mean, if you're gonna give me that, I'm gonna take it. And Austin Stotts certainly being a force here in the first half.
Big body, so much leverage, working against England's best on the back end, and Dan Smith, a guy who doesn't overcommit. He often frustrates attackers. Austin Stotts there shredding him for his third on the day. Haudenosaunee doubling up England 6-3.
It's interesting to see England press out a little bit more. I think that's to try and disrupt some of the offensive flow, but that's a dangerous game because the more you press out, the more space you give them.
Lars Tiffany, the head coach for Haudenosaunee, was watching the game last night, Nick, against Australia. He saw England go to a zone defense in the first quarter, thought that was surprising. You'd imagine England will try to mix it up today.
You would think so. The zone defense is susceptible to crisp ball movement, and Australia had success with those really well-timed and well-placed passes. So don't be surprised if they don't go to that zone to avoid being torn apart.
Snapshot here. Baxter with a fine-looking save there on a bullet from Thomas Hogarth. A righty finisher rounds out the attack trio for Haudenosaunee. Dan Smith on the go. Quiet, unassuming, solid defender, great stick. Played on the under-19 nationally for his England side way back in 2012.
It's going to be really interesting to see if England is going to crawl their way out of this deficit by pushing in transition. They've had numbers a couple of times, and when you put a premium on maintaining possession, that makes it more difficult when you find yourself in a 6-3 deficit.
Dan Watson will take it for a ride, 5 in the white, picking up Nick DiCaprio, the former Michigan Wolverine defender who's on the board for England today. Captain Tim Collins on the move. Do-it-all type midfielder. Exchanges for Watson. Shaded by Zed Williams. Christian Scarpello attacking from the angle against Blake McDonald. Off the roll dodge, here comes a double from Ron John. Good ball movement. Collins fires wide of the cage guarded by Warren Hill.
Impressive offense from England right there. Scarpello drawing the double, moving it, and then from X finding that skip lane. That is elite offense.
Hill guarding the goal as he did for Haudenosaunee for the Iroquois Nationals back in 2018. Had a 51% save percentage in that event. Scarpello against the short stick McDonald. Makes the move, tries the inside roll. Help comes from the sliding defender. Hill tiptoes the end line, keeping it alive as Zed Williams will clear. Pacino through midfield. Further still. Gliding along, Ron John, the long stick midfielder, very athletic, can play some Short stick D-mid if necessary.
And he's comfortable pushing in transition. That wasn't the easiest find to Lyle Thompson on the backside. Had to put a little arc on it to make sure that it wasn't intercepted.
Head coach Lars Tiffany Nick will preside over the defense, but the defensive coordinator is Vince Longboat. Coach Tiffany wanted to make sure that Vince got his credit. Scott Marr at the offensive coordinator end. Chris Doctor will be the man controlling the substitution box for Haudenosaunee. General manager Darcy Powless. Jackson works it from the flank. Miller on the sweep.
We see England in that zone here.
Keep it hot. Austin Stotts already with a hat trick. Gets swarmed at the crease. Somehow managed to keep it in his cross.
That's what he does better than anyone I've seen.
Unsettled. Miller fires and scores.
Austin Stotts' ability to maintain possession as he gets double, triple, quadruple teamed is one of the all-time X factors that I've seen. Look at him draw 3 separate English defensemen, and with 2 passes, it is Zach Miller wide open for the step down. Miller's gonna get credit, but it was Austin Stotts taking check after check, staying unfazed, getting the ball out of his stick that led to such a good look. And that's one of those times where you can't plan against Austin Stotts. You send a triple team 99% of the time, that's gonna be a turnover. That 1%, he's wearing 88 in purple.
This equals the largest
83.
lead so far for Haudenosaunee at 7-3. Miller gets himself on the board. Collegiate playing days for Zach Miller at Denver. He was the first Native American to ever play for legendary head coach Bill Tierney. 7 minutes deep, running time in the second quarter until we get to the 30-second mark. Sam Dexter spots Hugo Peel. Peel, measured by Tarbell. Hilditch, guarded by Pacino. Pacino thought of as the next big name defensively for Haudenosaunee. Future is especially bright. Scarpello has seen a lot of Zed Williams. Physical specimen for Haudenosaunee, now playing defense.
Zed Williams, a physical specimen, but also so athletic, and his agility to go laterally backpedal makes him a dangerous defender, not just an offensive threat.
Peel. Coach Scarpello thought this youngster, 17 years old, would be the wild card. There he made a wild pass to the interior. Ill-advised, it's intercepted, and it starts Haudenosaunee the other way, looking for the 5-on-4 fast break. Heine Thompson lets it go, and he crossed up Baxter, but just missed the target. Heine, nicknamed Smiley by his mates. Always a smile on his face and a happy demeanor. 6:55 remaining in the second quarter. Haudenosaunee has the 7-3 advantage. We'll get you back to Torero Stadium in just a few moments for more World Lacrosse Men's Championship play. Haudenosaunee, one of the top offensive squads in this 30-nation World Lacrosse Championship, and one of the central driving figures has to be Austin Stotts for Haudenosaunee, already on the board 3 times.
He is the complete package. His physical size sets him apart from many other players, but then you have some of the best hands in this entire tournament. He makes those routine shots. Those are not the easiest shots, and he just makes them look easy as he bullies his way on a low angle to bury it. And keep in mind, he's drawn the entire English defense, allowing Zach Miller to score. So he's not just the goal scorer. Right now, he is the X factor.
Zach Miller, that great speed on display. The last man to score for Haudenosaunee, most recently, making it a 7-3 advantage for the guys in the purple jerseys. A little bit less than 7 minutes. Witchwith to work in this opening half. Lyle Thompson going to get back in gear, working in against Tommy Kirkland. Kirkland's been nursing a foot injury. Coach on the field type defender, a leader, great insights on the back end from 25 in white. This is his 3rd different World Championship tournament. Eli McLaughlin getting a touch, 3 in the purple for Haudenosaunee. Sharing the ball with Austin Stotts. Andrew Baxter there with him, trades him off.
Good job by England making Haudenosaunee play the 2-man game so far outside that when Austin Stotts was able to get topside, it wasn't a threat. That's why you pressure out, so that when those moments happen, they're not in scoring distance.
Randy Stotts rolling in, gets to the interior, delivers for McLaughlin. He'll choose Jacob Patterson. Hatcheted there by Pomfret. That's going to be a penalty against England. After Will Baxter makes the stop, Haudenosaunee goes a man up.
So difficult to play against the Haudenosaunee because when they decide they're going one way, not only do you have to be wary of the rollback, but they can put their shoulder down and you really have to take a baseball hack to even affect the quality of their passes, let alone cause a turnover. So not only are you at risk for the rollback, but penalties as well.
Haudenosaunee already 1 for 1 on extra man. Austin Stotts in the opening quarter. Randy on a look-away feed. Once more behind the back. Expert ball movement. Austin Stotts hit the post. And the rebound taken off the carpet by Jack Wawrzyniak.
Austin Stotts standing flat-footed, almost absolutely painted that topside near corner, taking England a little bit by surprise.
Have a look at the replay, Nick.
And just look at how he's standing, and it's almost like they were expecting him to pass, and that was an inch away from being a goal. So really, really well done, and he continues to be one of the best players on the field.
Obviously, we get to the field early prior to these games, and you watch Haudenosaunee go through its practice paces, and it's a shooting display unlike any other.
I hope everybody tuning in gets the chance to watch the Haudenosaunee warm up, shoot around. It is unlike anything I've ever seen. The type of stuff you dream about as a kid, working in the backyard, working on your creativity. You hope to and aspire to the level of the men in purple.
Just over 4 minutes left in this opening half. Stick around with us at the halftime break. Nick will take us through some of the highlights and goal scoring efforts early on in Pool A play. Christian Scarpello has the ball for England. Goldsmith already with 2 on the afternoon. Nick DiCaprio isolating against Jackson. Here comes the help from Oakley Thomas. No shot clock. This is Joe Baythorpe, who's been bothered by a recent ankle injury. Collins, the captain. DiCaprio fires.
England's doing a really good job of creating space for whoever is initiating.
Bringing it in off the end line. Goldsmith let it go, and that's high. Another scorcher that sailed over Warren Hill. 2 times a junior college national champion.
And a different look from Goldsmith right there, really making the defense respect the amount of tricks he has in his bag.
Collins on the go off the two-man game. Scarpello on the sneak. Shovels. And Hill was ready at the post. On the end line, the officials award the ball to Nick DiCaprio and Team England. Rapidly, we've gone through this opening half. A little bit less than 3 minutes to go in quarter two. Collins is picked up by Jackson. And this is going to be awarded back to Haudenosaunee.
There's no shot clock, so you got to keep it in the box. And if you're England, you have to know that. Looked like they were unaware that that was the rule in place.
And stall warnings, the officials will yell out to the offensive group, keep it in the attack box.
And England just walked right out of the box there.
Oops.
So.
Lyle Thompson, measured there on the outside by Tommy Kirkland. Great moves, Miller. Gets underneath, spins the rock for Randy Stotts, then Austin bluffs it to get away from Andrew Baxter. Randy Stotts again, me and my shadow throughout most of the day with Dan Smith. Zach Miller, tallied here in the second, gets away from his defender. Beautiful ball movement, dip and dunk.
Oh my goodness.
The dip and dunk finish for Austin Stotts.
The three-headed monster. Zach Miller, Kyle Jackson, Austin Stotts. Zach Miller is one of the shiftiest players ever to pick up a lacrosse stick. So it is no surprise that he makes any defenseman fall down, flicks it right to Kyle Jackson. Kyle Jackson knows he has one of the best finishers ever, one pass away. So instead of being selfish and taking the shot, he throws a nifty behind the back pass and lets number 83 do what number 83 does best.
Big fella's having himself a day. Austin Stotts has 4. There's Kyle Jackson getting well-deserved refreshments. Head coach Lars Tiffany set up Jackson throughout the training camp tryouts. Perhaps the most impressive player on the field, wore 47. Kyle already has 4 helpers on the day.
Strong words from head coach Lars Tiffany. He doesn't say that lightly, so Kyle Jackson, one of the most impressive players, and really brings together that left side. Him and Zach Miller just so quick and shifty. Austin Stotts, the size and the finish.
Team England will take the timeout. Less than 30 seconds remaining in the half. Lars Tiffany, the bench boss for Haudenosaunee.
And I wouldn't be surprised if one of the things that he does here is say play out a little bit further, because this is a little bit of a replay of how the first quarter ended, where there was a timeout with 30 seconds left. Haudenosaunee packed it in a little bit, which allowed Sean Goldsmith to show his range, stinging a corner. And I believe that was their second or third goal. So expect them to not give that up and make them beat in another way.
Haudenosaunee was ready to answer the bell today, Nick. We knew it, and Coach Tiffany knew it this morning. They had a 9 a.m. shoot-around schedule, and half the team was already there by 8:30. They were chomping at the bit to get involved.
That's no surprise. One thing that I know, having played or played against a number of the Haudenosaunee before the game, after the game, I even recall going to a PLL training camp with Zed Williams where he was carrying his stick through the buffet line. They love this game. They respect this game. This game is theirs. And there's no question as to who the most creative team is here in this entire tournament.
The Haudenosaunee spiritually refer to this sport as a medicine game. Haudenosaunee an 8-3 lead. Latter stages of quarter two. Joe Beninati, Nick Ocello shouting out thanks to all the men and women in our technical crew for all of their efforts throughout the day. Just a reminder, United States and Australia coming up tonight.
And let's see what England gets into here.
Dexter playing catch with DiCaprio. This is Sam Dexter, two-way midfielder. Scarpello, likewise, but playing a lot of attack. Scarpello with a heavily bandaged right knee. Watson on the go. Time ticking, under 7 seconds left. Good defensive challenge by Haudenosaunee. Ranjan comes away. launches this downfield as the horn sounds, ending 30 minutes.
Really impressive first half from the Haudenosaunee. Not only offensively, we know that they're an offensive powerhouse, but it's the transition and the unsettled situations that they've executed so well on. And that's a double-edged sword, because with no shot clock, some of this game of possession, time of possession comes into factor. England certainly winning that matchup in the first quarter. Haudenosaunee sticks to their game plan and says, we are a run and gun, purely electric lacrosse team.
Haudenosaunee, the only 3 goals of the second quarter, advancing their lead to 5 over Team England on this day at Torero Stadium. Austin Stotts has been a wrecking crew all around the cage. Zach Miller deadly accurate. The Haudenosaunee showing off all their offensive skills, but it's been the big man Stotts around the goal. Too much to handle so far. First half, intermissions activities in a moment. Two quarters of play complete. Time flies when you're having fun here in San Diego. Keeping track of Haudenosaunee in England, who are at the half, on ESPN. Nick, throughout Pool A play, the offense hasn't been overwhelming, but it's definitely made highlights.
It hasn't been a very high-scoring tournament so far, but no lack of highlight reel goals. Josh Byrne always finds a way to land in the crease. Cahill for Australia with the crafty quick stick. England, Sean Goldsmith has been one of their lone bright spots, sparking the offense. And who else but Brennan O'Neill for Team USA. His catch and release is the best in the business.
We'll see what the Tuaraton winning O'Neill can do for an encore in the game tonight. The U.S. Nick's been terrific in world play since '67.
They have. What's interesting to me about this team in particular, they're only returning 6 from the 2018 gold medal team, so there's been a lot of roster turnover. And keep in mind that 2018 team beat Canada 9-8, so their first win over Canada was a statement victory. They are the team to beat in this tournament.
2 nights ago, the United States knocked off Canada, and they did it with a very late kick.
They did. It was interesting to see these new pieces, these new faces get their first big game against Canada. And what impressed me was the outside shooting. They have a lot of initiators, but again, going back to Brennan O'Neill off of the brilliant pass from Tom Schreiber, stretching the Canadian defense, finding those holes, and coming away with a big victory.
So the Yankee Doodle Dandies meet Australia 10 p.m. Eastern tonight. The Aussies staged their own great comeback over England last night.
And what impressed me, they 8 straight goals after trailing 3-0, was their ability to play with pressure. Even though some of the England defensemen were draped all over them, they were able to find those skip lanes, get those open looks, and ultimately bury England.
the inside guys. So much finish for Cahill. It promises to be another star-studded night of World Lacrosse action on ESPN. Stay right there when we return. Scrolling through the half-tight highlights, England and Haudenosaunee.
Kids grow up, and it goes by fast. At Rady Children's, we're growing up too. Always looking for answers and new and better ways to care for your kids.
That's true.
Researching, innovating, breaking ground. As they soar to new heights,
Ignition.
we're ready for takeoff too.
Liftoff.
Kids grow up, and it goes by fast. At Rady Children's, we're growing up too. Always looking for answers and new and better ways to care for your kids.
That's true.
Researching, innovating, breaking ground. As they soar to new heights,
Ignition.
we're ready for takeoff too.
Liftoff.
As advertised, Haudenosaunee bringing its best offensive talents to the forefront. 30 minutes into its clash with England, it's 8-3 in 2023 World Lacrosse Men's Championship play. Joe Beninati, Nick Ocello with you today. Happy to be joining you from Torero Stadium. You look through the Haudenosaunee roster, all the name, all the talents there, and you go, wow, which one's going to jump out? Who stood out to you in the first 30 minutes?
It's such a loaded roster, and you might think the answer is Austin Stotts, but for me, it is Zach Miller. He is one of the most electric, shifty players, making his defensemen fall down and really drawing a lot of attention to allow guys like Austin Stotts to make those finishes look easy. So keep an eye on Zach Miller for the Haudenosaunee. When he has that shorty matchup, that's one of the biggest nightmares in this entire tournament.
Haudenosaunee has the large lead at the moment, but England jumped out and played very well again in the first 10 minutes. Here's a strike from Nick DiCaprio.
A great methodical approach from England. They were really putting a premium on time of possession and wearing down the Haudenosaunee defense.
The Haudenosaunee, though, Randy Stotts, Austin Stotts would crank it up.
My goodness, they just score punches and bunches, and it's those unsettled situations. And if England takes a peek off ball, and if they show one sign of weakness, the Haudenosaunee are going to capitalize every time as we see Austin Stotts barrel his way and draw three defensemen. What a half he had as Zach Miller finishes.
Whenever Haudenosaunee has the ball, you better watch because it's going to move quickly. Tap, 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 doorstep, don't. And Haudenosaunee moves on to quarter three with you against England in just a few moments. As the sun beats down, you're watching the 2023 World Lacrosse Men's Championship presented by Rady Children's Hospital. Torero Stadium on the campus of the University of San Diego. Joe Beninati, Nick Ocello with you just past the top of the hour. Haudenosaunee, 5 better than England. Haudenosaunee's first game in Pool A play in this World Lacrosse Men's Championship. And it's Austin Stotts, who was terrific in the first 30 minutes, canning 4 shots against head coach Pat Scarpello and Team England. England in jeopardy of falling to 0-2 in round-robin play after their loss an evening ago to Australia. This is the first world championship in the sport of lacrosse to take place in California. We get going in quarter 3.
And one thing to keep an eye on for England is I want to see their offensive midfielders put a bigger premium on preventing transition. Too many times there's a save, and then immediately the Haudenosaunee, like their shot out of a cannon, are pushing and capitalizing on some of those opportunities. So it's up to the midfielders of England to prevent that if they have any chance of clawing their way back.
Midfielders right now, Mike Pomfret and Tim Collins. This is Pomfret, a north-south dodger, digging in against Tarbell. Watson funnels it on around. Collins gets into the lane. From the sharp angle there, that was fought off by Warren Hill in cage for Haudenosaunee.
Interesting shot choice right there. If you're going to take that, you want it to either sting the corner or miss. So not the best shot decision, but the placement, even though it missed, that's better than a save.
Bringing on around for Goldsmith, who had 2 tallies in the opening half. He's got Oakley Thomas with him. Haudenosaunee in purple. The only 3 goals of the second quarter belonging to the Nationals, who have the lead by 5 over the Lions from England. Collins skipping on through to Scarpello. Christian Scarpello keeps it hot. Goldsmith attacking with the shovel there.
Right idea, but difficult execution. Scarpello was open on the crease, but that degree of difficulty on the pass was just a little bit too hard. And it's interesting watching this English offense play because their risk-reward ratio is a little off right now. They're throwing skip passes through the middle that are almost getting intercepted, but they're not to step-down shooters. They're not for the home run plays. So when they take those risks, I'd like to see the reward be a great opportunity as opposed to just standard ball movement.
If you were with us an evening ago, England jumped out on Australia 3-0, and head coach Pat Scarpello said it could have easily been more than that. His team didn't finish the ball as well as they might have liked. They were on the lead earlier today, 2-1 over Haudenosaunee, and then this man got himself very much involved, Austin Stotts, to the tune of 4 strikes. Lyle Thompson, who will play both attack and midfield in this event. Lars Tiffany wants him on the field as often as possible, and wouldn't you? Off the hitch move comes Miller. Around a pick, Miller fires, he scores! Zach Miller gliding to the goal.
It's just too easy for the Haudenosaunee right now, particularly on the 2-man game. Every pick is seemingly very effective. The way that England needs to counter that is coming off of this pick by Austin Stotts right here. You need to switch aggressively to prevent Zach Miller from keeping his momentum because he gets to that perfect spot and paints that far side corner.
How do you communicate it in that short amount of time defensively?
So it's the off-ball player. When you're on ball, you just have to be focusing on your role. So the off-ball player needs to be pre-communicating, saying, watch pick coming right, and then a second before it happens, jump out and say switch, allowing the on-ball defender to slip back in.
So tough to do against a team that executes so well. Jeremy Thompson wins the draw again. Haudenosaunee right back to work at the offensive end, leading by 6. Kirkland guarding Thompson a long way from the goal. Jacob Patterson, really a breakout tournament for him last summer. That was the Sixes experience in Alabama. Scott Marr, the offensive coordinator for Haudenosaunee, says if Patterson gets a shorty on him, it can be devastating.
which just speaks to the depth of the roster. You just have weapons all over. When you shut down one door, seemingly 3 more open.
Lyle Thompson on the go. Around the Hogarth screen. They play that 2-man game a lot.
They do, and even when Lyle Thompson's throwing fakes, it's fun to watch.
Beautiful pass inside. The scoop to Austin Stotts for his 5th.
And right on cue, Patterson with the ridiculous assist, the one-handed scoop pass. So creative. How do you stop this? You don't. You're throwing a lift check, and you're all draped over him, and what does he do? Perfectly placed pass to Austin Stotts, who is one of the best finishers in this entire tournament, and boy, is he proving it here today.
Back in the 2018 games in Israel, Austin fashioned 16 goals. It was second best for the then Iroquois, the Iroquois Nationals. Bronze medalists in each of the last 2 World Championships. Going back to 2014 in Denver, Colorado. Haudenosaunee looking for a ground ball here. Same with England. Coburn has the advantage. He'll goose it to the midline. And there's Jeremy Thompson recovering neatly. Officials today, Bill Doherty, Dan Douglazima, Alex Fry, and Rob Groats. Awarding the ball to England.
And now this is where the difficulty for England lies. The success has been a methodical, patient approach. And when you find yourself down 7, you cannot have that happen. So look for them to push and step on the gas a little bit more.
17 in the white, subbing out Cam Major. Happy birthday, Cam. Turning 23 today.
Happy birthday.
I remember 23.
I barely do.
It's a long time ago in the rearview mirror.
I had hair back
For
then.
some of us. Baythorpe, player that Coach Scarpello said will surprise you. Takes very smart shots. This is a deliberate offensive set now for England as they have fallen behind by 7.
And they have space. They have 2 Haudenosaunee short stick defensive midfielders 10 yards above the box. This is when you have to initiate right here.
9 of the last 10 goals belonging to Haudenosaunee. The turn back from DiCaprio. Baythorpe maneuvers in. Nottingham Trent University on his resume. This ball gets away. A missed catch there for Danny Hilditch. Hilditch, who's been very quiet in the first game and a half for England in this event. Great scoop off the sideline by Jackson.
Watch out.
Oakley Thomas will bring it along. Austin Stotts looking for numbers. On the slow break, the trailer, score! Pacino.
Started with Kyle Jackson. Pacino, the beneficiary of some really well-timed passes and a high level of execution.
You knew it as it was happening, I could tell. And Pacino did just the same as he gets congratulations to the sideline. The Haudenosaunee showing off the offense in the half-field set and running when necessary. Jacob Pacino, the big beard on the defensive end, goes offensive. Rady Children's Hospital, presenting sponsor of the 2023 World Lacrosse Men's Championship, is the largest children's hospital on the West Coast, and it's ranked among the 10 best children's hospitals in the nation. We are in beautiful San Diego, Torero Stadium on the campus of the University of San Diego, about 20 minutes from the beaches, 20 minutes from downtown.
Tough place to go to
Haudenosaunee,
college.
rocking and rolling. Yeah, this would be all right, huh?
I wouldn't complain. Beats the South Bend winners, I'll tell you that.
Nick Ocello of Fighting Irish fame. Ground ball for Kirkland, Team England in the white. Trailing the Haudenosaunee now by 8. 6 unanswered goals for Haudenosaunee. Christian Scarpello comes up with the ball.
That's why I love this tournament. How many times are you going to see Lyle Thompson briefly play defense on Christian Scarpello?
Scarpello and Team England get a day off tomorrow. They get the United States on Sunday. Haudenosaunee will see the United States tomorrow at 7. Hugo Peel operating for England. Collins gets downhill. Thompson bouncing back up off the deck. Goldsmith inside. Scarpello scores! A brilliant individual effort.
Goldsmith and Scarpello have been the two pillars of this English offense. And now we see a little bit of a role reversal. Instead of Scarpello feeding Goldsmith, Goldsmith flings it to the crease. And that is ridiculous creativity with the defenseman draped all over him as he draws the penalty. Scarpello with the shovel in the bottom left corner. Even the placement was fantastic on that.
Christian Scarpello, goals in back-to-back games. He struck last night against Australia in a losing effort. Dad says of his son Christian, he's built for this game. He's been ailing with that right knee wrapped. He sustained an injury during PLL play recently. Jeremy Thompson comes up with a draw for Haudenosaunee, and he's marching his way to the cooker. We have 5 minutes and 20 seconds remaining in quarter 3. Running time until the last 30 seconds of this frame. In the 4th, the dead ball stoppage time happens with 2 minutes to go in the final quarter. Austin Stott's just hanging out along with Andrew Baxter. Baxter, the defender who always plays with a chip on his shoulder. His last hurrah, 24 in the white. This is his 4th World Championships. Jackson weaving away from Smith. Miller and Austin Stotts go into the 2-man game. Randy, Austin's brother, set to go. We haven't called Jerry, their cousin, very much. 77 in the purple on defense for Haudenosaunee. Randy Stotts comes up with this and leisurely strolls to the midline.
That's how good this team is. I'm genuinely surprised when Randy Stotts and Lyle Thompson are playing the 2-man game. The ball was on the ground, and I was surprised by it.
Zip it on through. Miller took his eyes off of it. That pass rolls to the sideline. Man ball drills there. And out of the pack, the officials will award the ball to England.
Got a playing without the stick call right there, and I'd like to see England push a little bit in transition. The Haudenosaunee are a little bit unsettled. England has numbers. This is the time to put your foot on the gas.
Bob Gignac gets up. Scarpello looks to the corner.
They still have numbers.
Bob Gignac thinking about it. Big face dodge there with a long stick. Scarpello calling for it as he's attacked by Zed Williams. PLL Whip Snake tournament MVP. Playing defense for Lars Tiffany, who said this would be the perfect stage to see what Zed could do with a long stick on defense.
Been playing very solid so far.
They wanted to give him the toughest defensive assignment. They wanted him to be on ball a lot.
Very few players are built like Zed Williams, where you can not only be the best player in the PLL, but the top defenseman on your national team.
Oh, by the way,
Talk about utility.
Less than 3 minutes to go in the third quarter. England's lone strike from Christian Scarpello in this third. Haudenosaunee tacking on 3 more in this frame, including the 5th goal of the game for Austin Stotts. Underneath, short side, no room there for Goldsmith. Hill had the post. This is day 3 of this World Lacrosse Men's Championship presented by Rady Children's Hospital. Day 2, Nick, was chock full of close games, dramatic finishes, overtimes.
It was fantastic. Latvia, buzzer beater versus Peru. Trying to think of some others where Mexico lost on a heartbreaking goal. So to see the parity start to even out just a little bit is a huge testament to how much work some of these national programs have put in.
To the alley, that pass just gets away from Christian Scarpello. It goes back over to Haudenosaunee. Wales beat Denmark in overtime yesterday.
That's right.
Scotland was the team that edged Mexico. Tom Gilbrook, a great story, and getting the winning goal there, bouncing back after his ACL injury. You were fascinated by New Zealand's haka?
Chills, literal chills. I've YouTubed the New Zealand rugby team doing the haka, and so to see the haka with lacrosse sticks incorporated was, I thought, one of the perfect representations of what makes this tournament so beautiful. A great mismatch of cultures, lacrosse programs coming together to celebrate this sport that we all love.
New Zealand's ceremonial war dance challenge that fires the team up. Haudenosaunee has the rock right now. Larson Sundown wearing 11 in the purple. Rochester Institute of Technology. D2 first team All-American during his days at Limestone as well.
England pressing out a little bit here creates some very difficult situations for the short stick defensive midfielders.
Randy Stotts on the move, the son of Sherry Lynn and Marty. Brother Austin has been the big shooter today. Randy drawing a bead on Smith. Big face dodge. And Sundown just didn't convert as he was checked at the last instant.
Really well done by England to collapse on the backside. Beats the initial man, but the help was there.
Less than 30 to go in the third. Lyle Thompson on the isolation, gets underneath. Here comes the double. Lyle just gliding, as always.
Oh my goodness.
To the cage. With a couple of flags down, he converts. Lyle Thompson at his best.
What separates him from a great player, I think, is his balance and his ability to not be fazed by any sort of contact. He had a double team, he had a triple team, he's taking hacks, but his composure with pressure, he just simply doesn't care if you're playing good defense on him. He will find where you are weak, attack it, score, and even if you try to get under his skin, he is one of the most level-headed players I've ever had the misfortune of playing against.
Well put. Fabulous collegiate career at Albany. 3 times a 100-plus point scoring season for the great Lyle Thompson. And Nick, he's fresh, right? He would have not been playing in the NLL playoffs. He's been off since late April. Georgia didn't qualify for the postseason indoors. So he's been chilling out. Looks good. And the Haudenosaunee have been impressive to this point, on top by 8.
Yeah, he's just so fun to watch, and you can't state what he's done for the game, both from a Native American representation standpoint and what he's done with the Haudenosaunee. But just the amount of kids that have been in their backyard trying to emulate Lyle Thompson, and very likely failing, because even with nobody in your own backyard, you can't do what he does.
And angry Andrew Baxter took a seat in the penalty box for England late in this third quarter. 6 seconds left. Austin Stotts will walk with it. Haudenosaunee will have possession to start the fourth, and they are in control. In this, their World Lacrosse Men's Championship opener, Haudenosaunee, a deeply talented roster, and perhaps the best of the bunch, wears 4 in the purple. Lyle Thompson drawing 3 defenders, stashing one for Haudenosaunee. Off to the fourth we go. The 2023 World Lacrosse Men's Championship is sponsored by Rady Children's Hospital, the largest children's hospital on the West Coast, ranked among the 10 best children's hospitals in the nation. Looking good out on the water and in Pool A as the schedule for this round-robin play continues.
One of the games that interests me most is that Australia versus Haudenosaunee game on Monday. Reason being, Australia beats England. How good is Australia? Well, that's really going to be a great measuring stick. The top dogs of USA and Canada, you can expect victories against Australia. How close is that game going to be?
England has placed fourth in the World Championships. They did so the first 7 times they were contested. The last time they were fourth back in 1994. Haudenosaunee get it set. Lyle Thompson operating from the top. Austin Stotts fires, and that's snagged by the new netminder, Hal Jobang. Off the bench for head coach Pat Scarpello. Jobang, who can run hot and cold. 47% save percentage in 2018 at the World Championships in Israel.
Really impressive save right there, and you can tell that he was watching Austin Stotts, knowing that that first low shot is not the one that he usually pulls trigger on. Goes pretend low, he says, I'm not falling for that, and then matches Austin up high.
So Jobang on for Will Baxter, the third goalie. England's reserve keeper is Jack Allen. He's heading to Ohio State to play for the Buckeyes in the near future. England in white. Dan Watson on the ball. Scarpello back behind the cage, picked up now by Jerry Stotts, 77 in the purple. Scarpello with a double swim, then finds Pomfret, who scored against Australia an evening ago. Watson glides to the alley, forced below goal line, extended there by Kaysen Tarbell. Goldsmith struck twice in the opening quarter. Since then, he's been held in check.
One of the things that's been successful for England's offense is setting picks for Goldsmith on the low wing. I'm surprised they haven't gone back to that over and over again.
Watson, speed dodge, he scores! Stashing that one past the new netminder for Haudenosaunee, Jack Van Valkenburg has entered the game.
One of the things that England's done really well is get their Dodgers space. So as we see Watson dust his defender from X, what he does a really good job of is recognize that there is space in the middle of the field. That Haudenosaunee slide just a second late. So good recognition right there, good speed, good finish.
Coach Scarpello said England needed to be better fundamentally today. Watson showing a good step. On the scouting report, it says that he is an in-tight finisher who can control the ball from X. Demonstrating those tendencies right there on this draw. Madeley overruns it. Jeremy Thompson comes up with a face-off control for Haudenosaunee. Now 7 better than England with 12 minutes to go. Thompson picking up Kyle Jackson. Jackson, who had a hat trick against Puerto Rico in World Championship play in 2018. Better than that today in the assist category. He's been a helpful provider for Haudenosaunee's offense. McLaughlin, a great stick inside, according to offensive coordinator Scott Marr. This is Jacob Patterson, Nick, working on the outside along with Austin Stotts.
Just speaks to the depth of the Haudenosaunee, where Eli McLaughlin, one of the best finishers in the entire NLL, has been a little bit silent, but they don't need him, and he's not a guy who's going to force his way into the offense. Humble player and a great guy, Eli McLaughlin.
Stepping in once more for the injured Dahoga Nanticoke. This is whistled wide by Patterson, former America East Player of the Year out of Albany.
On the run, low to high, near side, bit of a heat check shot right there.
Randy Stott serves it for Patterson. No shot clock in World Championship play. For the most part in Pool A, the scores have been low in the initial games at the outset of this event. Haudenosaunee, though, hitting stride quickly at 12 and counting. Patterson against Major. Bouncer on the way. Jobang was there at the post. Closest to the ball on a shot in lacrosse, where and when it leaves the field gets possession. This stays with Haudenosaunee.
And yet another instance of getting a good shot off with defenders draped all over them. Haudenosaunee does that better than most.
Oh, sidearm sling there from Thompson. Fine stop Jobang on Austin Stotts, preventing him from the double hat trick.
Look at Jobang coming in, making 2 stops on what's been the offensive MVP of the game, Austin Stotts, so far. And look at this right here. Lyle Thompson's ability to feed, you cannot stop. So what does Jobang do? Recognizes when Lyle's making the pass and then stops Stotts cold.
Wawrzyniak lets it go. Van Valkenburg makes the save. Say that 5 times fast, by the way.
It's impressive you got that out.
Thank you so much. Glad you're listening. 9.5 to go regulation. Thompson waiting for subs to come on off of Lars Tiffany's bench. Tiffany watching his group through the tryouts, marveled at their shooting ability. Nick, he said the team has really bought in. They had a lot of Zoom meetings. It's really helped them at the defensive end. Lars will tell you they want to be coached.
And you love to hear that, because in a team that's built from players who are used to being the sole guy on their program, on their team, it's great to see that they're putting the team over their individual wants and needs. And certainly paying off here today.
Thompson rolls. Here comes a double. He scores! Lyle Thompson.
His ability to flip his hips, plant his feet, and get a shot off is unparalleled. Not only does he have an explosive rollback, but right there, just plants his feet, and the torque that it takes to not only have that rollback, but right there, just stop low to low. What a player with the most lethal rollback in the game. And his ability to just stop dead in his tracks and get a shot off like that, good luck, I say.
Highlight after highlight, going to make a pretty good film, wouldn't you think? It was nice to chat with Rick Lane of One Bowl Productions, his TV and film crew embedded with the Haudenosaunee team. They're making a documentary. They're calling it Our Game. Lax fans, be sure to watch out for that. You'll see the ball spin from cross to cross. One Bowl hopes to promote peace through sports. Everywhere Haudenosaunee has gone during this tournament, you see the film crew, sound crew with them.
I'm very, very excited to see that documentary. The production level in the sport of lacrosse has gone up and up, putting out some really, really cool content.
Zach Miller shifting gears there to get away from his check. Tom Hallam, who caused 3 turnovers in the game last night against Australia. Miller jitterbugs in, loses Collins, fakes, feeds inside. That's pretty for Larson Sundown.
Jack Smith on Twitter says, Zach Miller being back in lacrosse makes the world complete. And I do not disagree with him.
Beautiful setup there. Sundown converts. The lead is 9. Haudenosaunee well on its way to victory here in San Diego.
At Morgan Stanley, old school hard work meets bold new thinking. At 87 years old, we still see the world with the wonder of new eyes, helping you discover untapped possibilities and relentlessly working with you to make them real. Old school grit, new world ideas. Morgan Stanley.
Kids grow up, and it goes by fast. At Rady Children's, we're growing up too. Always looking for answers and new and better ways to care for your kids.
That's true.
Researching, innovating, breaking ground. As they soar to new heights,
Ignition.
we're ready for takeoff too.
Lift off.
Max power, I'm about to go bigger and better. If I ever lose, set it on faster than ever. If I ever lose, set it on bigger and better. Hitting roller coaster coming. Bigger, bolder, faster. I'm going to the maximum. I'm going to the maximum. I'm going to the maximum. I'm bigger, bolder, faster. I'm going to the maximum. I'm going to the maximum. I'm going to the maximum. I'm bigger, bolder, faster.
Haudenosaunee in control for head coach Lars Tiffany. And Nick, when we see Coach Tiffany take the field, he's often carrying a long stick, wooden long stick. There you see it actually on the bench for Haudenosaunee that was made for him by the late Alf Jacques. Alf Jacques passing away last week at the age of 74.
To see the outpouring from the lacrosse community, decades and decades of what he has done and what he has given this sport, it's no surprise that he's had a direct impact all the way from the top with Lars Tiffany, head coach of the Haudenosaunee, all the way down to the casual player. What an impact he had.
Alf began making those sticks with his dad when he was 12 years of age. No 2 sticks are exactly the same. And Alf would always say there's that natural born connection to the stick.
There is, and there's been some great remembrances and tributes here so far in the first couple days of the World Championships. And one of the quotes that I loved was that he saw a tree. He didn't just see a tree, he saw something that he could handcraft, turn into a piece of art, turn into something that would have an impact well beyond his years and an impact to improve someone's life. And he improved thousands over the course of his.
No doubt, no doubt. Beloved by so many in the sport of lacrosse. Kyle Jackson pulls away from brace girdle. 5:45 left, running clock in the fourth until there's 2 minutes to go. Haudenosaunee fell behind 2-1 in this game, if you're just tuning in with us. At one point in time, they fashioned 10 out of 11 goals in a very sparkling run to take command. Had a 12-4 lead at the end of 3. It's blossomed to 14-5 now, and more for Bomberry.
I'm going to sound like a broken record here, but Austin Stotts demands the attention from the defense. They pick him up a little bit outside of their comfort zone, so when he draws that slide, what he does so well is as soon as England takes a step towards him, he knows that I have a chance to beat the double, but his eyes are up and Bomberry was open. And the precision from that pass is worth noting. It made Bomberry's life very easy, one of the easiest goals Bomberry's gonna score all tournament. And I'm running out of words to describe how Austin Stotts has taken over this game.
Been a marvelous performance. The lead into double figures now for Haudenosaunee with less than 4.5 to go. Grace Girdle wins the draw for England. Pushing it quickly there, Goldsmith fired that one wide. Chased down on the end line by Dan Watson. Haudenosaunee gets the United States tomorrow at 7. Just a reminder from the programming department, the United States and Australia here at Torero Stadium comes your way at 7. DiCaprio in charge of the ball now. Team England will lick its wounds. Have the day off tomorrow, get set for Team USA on Sunday.
Good stop right there. We saw the Haudenosaunee really pack it in tight. So what they are looking for is to give up that outside shot, really let everybody get comfortable and not miss anything.
First call in the day here for Brooker Muir, 52 in the purple, as he exchanges with Tarbell. Muir is a fitness guru. He's supposedly the team dietitian, they say.
From the goalie, that's an interesting one. Goalies always have a couple weird quirks about them, whether they're the locker room guy, whether they're the dietitian. Always something interesting with the goalies and the face-off guys.
Patterson makes this exchange. Gets to the interior and flicks that one. He folded that over neatly and just snapped it high.
The ability to have the creativity and the execution to throw a twister while falling down as the slide's getting ready to hit you. Just a thing of beauty.
McLaughlin. Then Patterson bulldozing in against DiCaprio, who knows this end of the field very well. Collegiate days with the Wolverines as their captain. He was a long stick defender.
And he did a great job right there.
Thompson behind the back flick. Hogarth, move it. There's Austin Stotts. He scores. That's his 6th.
You'll see teams throughout this tournament attempt behind the back passes, attempt one-handed shovel passes, attempt behind the back shots. There is not a higher level of execution than the Haudenosaunee. Those behind the back passes that are so easy and crisp and efficient, as we see Lyle Thompson do it with ease. Tees up the tic-tac-toe. Austin Stotts normally trying to place it on a much smaller box goal for the San Diego Seals. Has a lot of net to work with and has taken advantage of it time after time.
So Austin Stotts, who picked up his 5th goal early in the 3rd, bags number 6 and number 16 overall as we move into the stoppage time, the final 2 minutes of the 4th. Team England with a whistling drive there from Watson. The one thing that head coach Scarpello said he wanted folks to know about Team England would be that they played hard and that they would not lie down in these sorts of situations when the game is no longer in doubt.
There's always a little something extra representing your country. So for England to be representing the red and white, even though this game is all but over, 1 minute and 40 seconds left, they not only have a chance to learn a little bit, although that's not what you want to see, the quick turnover.
Lightning quick, in fact. Ron John there. glides in. Thompson behind the back, one more cross crease. 17 moves, and Austin Stotts has his 7th.
And I think that one was just to put on a little bit of a show for the fans here today. You could see the fake after fake. And when he finally buried it, there was a little bit of energy from the crowd. The behind the back pass, the cross crease feed. Let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 fakes before he finally decides to bury it.
Nick, I gave him credit for 17.
I mean, listen, it looked like 17 in real time. I had the fortune of slow motion. Still an impressive play and getting the people fired up here, no doubt.
Bang-up job for Austin Stotts right from the get-go for Haudenosaunee. I saw Russell Melendez, who played collegiately for Johns Hopkins, go for 4 + 3 = 7 for Puerto Rico.
And no turnovers in that stat line, which is just crazy.
Those numbers dwarfed by what Austin Stotts has done today in the final 75 seconds of play.
I want to see England do something here, because not only are you representing your country and taking pride in that, but you're also learning every second you're on the field. Let's see if they can put together a last-second play that they could utilize later in the tournament.
Hugo Peel for Collins, back to the 17-year-old. Work it inside. They tried to set it there for Baythorpe. That did not connect. Casino, who scored a pole goal earlier today on a fast break, carries it ahead in the final minute of regulation. Tarbell looking inside. Hello! Austin Stotts has 8. And a natural hat trick to close the 4th quarter scoring. Wow.
It just is too easy for 8-3. And what a pass, too. Just the crispness. That is not an easy pass to make. Austin makes the catch look routine, throws a mini twister, goes near side.
If we were talking football, it was as if Tarbell threw him open, right? He threw to a space to create that open lane.
Yeah, got to lead the cut, which he does, a la Patrick Mahomes. I'm not going to use Tom Brady as an example. We're going to see the final 30 seconds play out here.
Brace Girdle wins the draw for England. Team England gets the day off. They get the United States on Sunday. Haudenosaunee plays the United States tomorrow. Meanwhile, the team that we haven't talked about in Pool A, Canada, has had 2 days off.
They have, and what a chance for them to come firing out of the gates, which they did not do in game 1.
Oh,
my
Whistler.
goodness.
He
That
had
was
Van Valkenburg beat.
a double pipe, went off the crossbar, off the far side, and then flung out of the cage.
6 ticks remaining. Goldsmith again, feed it inside. That gets away from Pomfret. And that is where this game will end in favor of Haudenosaunee by the healthy margin. 18-5. Handshakes and hugs all around.
An impressive all-around performance from the Haudenosaunee. They established their identity defensively. They were able to push transition, and of course what we all expected, the absolute lightning in a bottle that is their entire offensive unit.
Well, that's a pretty good first impression for Haudenosaunee as you look at where things stand in Pool A.
That goal differential of +13, I mean, given how the games were playing out yesterday, it could take teams 13 games to get there. The Haudenosaunee do it in just 1 with a healthy dose of Austin Stotts to boot, but a team effort. Zach Miller making defensemen fall down all over the place. Kyle Jackson with his quick and shifty ability. Brendan Bomberry on the crease. Randy Stotts on the backside. And, of course, Lyle Thompson rounding it all out.
Sure, the offense was good. How did you review the D?
I thought it was interesting. I don't think they really stuck in one way where they were aggressive or passive. I saw times in which they were packed in, pushed out, and they need to make that decision as they get ready for more pool play.
They were all pumped up at the offensive end, though, weren't they? Austin Stotts on a day that he finishes with 8. Haudenosaunee running roughshod over England. England falls to 0-2. For Nick Ocello, for all the men and women in our crew, Joe Beninati, thanks for your time. Haudenosaunee, the magic of Lyle Thompson, the power and finishing game of Austin Stotts. It's Haudenosaunee with ease in San Diego today.